What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode with your boy Phrankleen. Right, if this is your first time, if you like what I'm about, like the content, be sure to smash in the like button, the subscribe button, and look through my playlist, for other contents, okay? Right, I'm sure some of you are perhaps, aware of the death of a black young man called Nipsey Hussle, who was killed a few days ago. Well, I'll be honest, I wasn't following Nipsey Hussle. I sort of clocked him a few times, content about him across YouTube and stuff, but I wasn't really following him as such. I've seen a couple of his interviews, which I really liked, but I didn't really follow him. But following his death, I decided to do a bit of research and look into the background, what this guy was about. And I was really, really fascinated by what this gentleman was, about and what he did for the black community, particularly with the mainstream media and how the black community is being projected, and all the stuff that they put in the mainstream media show us as like thugs and savages and stuff like that. This guy did so much. So this made me to compile the 7 money and ownership lessons by Nipsey Hussle, all right? But before then, I'm just going to just give you a quick background into who this guy was. Assuming that there's someone watching this who hasn't got a clue and thinking, who is this Nipsey Hussle guy? Well, Nipsey Hussle was an American rapper, songwriter, entrepreneur, and a community activist from Los Angeles, California. Unfortunately, he died on the 31st of March, 2019. He died of gunshot wounds to the torso and head in front of his Marathon clothing store in South Los Angeles, right? Nipsey was shot in plain view of a CCTV camera, and the footage shows the shooter, who cops believe to be Eric Holder, opening fire 3 different times on Nipsey before kicking his body and fleeing the scene. What a bloody coward. 2 other people were shot, but they survived. Nipsey had a series of business investments that gave back to his community in many ways. His investments included clothing store known as the Marathon clothing store, which is in South Los Angeles. It was into acting. In 2018, he became a brand ambassador for Puma clothing and shoe company, co-working space in partnership with another company and stuff. I personally, like I said, I find the story of this man really fascinating, It's also worth noting now with the social media, right? When somebody dies and stuff, my observation, there's usually a little bit of compassion, every time Dick and Harry just jumps on the comment wagon and everyone's got an opinion and stuff like that. But as I say, I sort of read into the background of this man and I thought, who is this guy? Like I said, I clocked him before, but I was really fascinated because it's not commonly seen. We don't really celebrate the positivity and the good stuff and the good vibes and the great activism and all this goodness that the hardworking black being men or women that they do on a daily basis. So I've got 7 money and ownership lessons by Nipsey Hussle. Number 1 on Hustlenomics. He called it Hustlenomics. He said, you learn all the secrets to the game on your way up. Most folks want to skip the process. When you skip steps, you miss the lessons. On turn up and own up. It isn't cool to be in the club spending all of this money or having cars and jewelry, but you don't own any real estate. A fourplex. If the answer is no, you're not a real hustler. As you know, I've also got a video where I talk about the black community where all we like to do is show off and oppress ourselves. Some people love that champagne lifestyle and they really have no investment. They have nothing going for them. They just throw that money away constantly. So number 3 talks about entrepreneurship. The new mindset is we don't want advances. We want equity. And we don't want one-off endorsements. We want ownership. Ownership is the way forward. Building businesses, building ventures that we can pass on to the next generation. If you're not doing that, this is why a lot of us in the black community really have nothing to show. It's one thing to work and work and work and work for years. If we don't have any ownership, how do we build wealth? How do we get set for the generation behind us? Number 4, black capital. Business models are built around our cultural currency, and that's true. They develop the platform, implement structure, and bring us in in to raise value, because we're not building our own models. So other people will come into the community and they take the black money, the black pound sterling, the black dollars. They keep taking it off us and enriching themselves. Okay, on breaking the chains, own the supply chain from production to consumption. People take shots at Jay-Z, but he's the first black artist to have a vertically integrated business model where he owns the whole chain. This is what we need to do. We must build and keep building. This is the only way for the black community to grow and break free, because the colonial masters, the oppressors, are not going to hand us wealth. It's not going to happen in a million years. And number 6, on creating value. He said, I released 1,000 mixtape and charged $100 for each mixtape because I understood the economic principle of scarcity. He made about $100,000 doing that. The profit funded my independent label. And on owning real estate, because he was also into real estate, I own the block where I used to hustle from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. I hustled then I rented. Now David Gross and me will own in Crenshaw. You see, these are the 7 money and ownership lessons, right? But the beauty is, the point here is, you know, someone like Nipsey Hussle, when I read extensively into this guy's background, he had a clothing store, he created jobs, he built businesses, establishments in the black community. He gave back extensively, always preaching about positivity. But there was one fascinating thing which went around, because Dr. Sebi, which was a man that died mysteriously, a man that in the previous years was able to cure people of HIV, cancer, AIDS, and all that. Nipsey Hussle was working on a documentary about Dr. Sebi and how the state managed to obliterate him abruptly and mysteriously. And there's a lot of speculation that the death of Nipsey Hussle has got to do with the state. You know, at this point in time where I'm sat, there are no credible evidence. But of course, if you're woken up, you know, in your brains, you can read between the lines and stuff. But you never know. There ain't any credible evidences. Mine is, I pray the man rest in peace, but there's always a lesson to learn. And for those of us that are still privileged to be breathing and gracing the face of the earth at this point in time, there's a fantastic opportunity for us to contribute positively to the society that we live in and build that black wealth so that we can get ready for the generation behind. That's it pretty much about the 7 money and ownership lessons from Nipsey Hussle. Okay, it's your boy Phrankleen. If you like what I'm about, smash the subscribe button and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!